Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Buck the System Show. I am David West, and this is my beautiful wife, Cassie. Cassie, say hi.
Hi.
Cassie is my wife. She's the mother of my 3 children, and we have a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
Cassie has good taste in movies. We share a lot of the same tastes. We both like David Fincher movies. She loves my work. But something kind of interesting about Cassie is that she's basically never seen any Star Wars movies. Now, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. These aren't like super nostalgic movies for me. I watched them plenty of times as a kid, but they were never really my thing. I was more of a Lord of the Rings, Narnia, that sort of thing. I was never super into Star Wars, so I thought it'd be fun since the Rise of Skywalker, the final Skywalker saga film, supposedly came out recently, to get Cassie to watch all the Star Wars movies with me. She's like a completely blank slate. You guys are going to be shocked by how blank of a slate she is when it comes to these movies, and just see what her opinions are. And I kind of have a reason for doing this. Because I have some probably kind of controversial opinions about which is the best Star Wars movie, and I want to see if what like a total blank slate who has no like nostalgic attachment whatsoever to these films would think. So anyway, I don't want to keep talking without you saying anything, Cassie, so let's just get right into it. Cassie,
Okay.
Have you ever seen a Star Wars movie?
I have a flash of memory of seeing I think it's a Star Wars movie with 2 girls in it.
Oh, this is what she told me.
I think that was a Star Wars movie.
This is what she told me the other day, and as I grilled her, like, what the heck are you talking about? As best we could figure out, when she says 2 girls, she's talking about Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman.
Yes, that's who I remember seeing. Because I remember I went to the movie theater with my mom. I was like in middle school at the time, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. There's like 2 girls."
Okay, so what this means is that you've seen The Phantom Menace. I don't even think Keira Knightley's in that for more than like 2 minutes in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So she has seen The Phantom Menace in theaters 20 years ago. That's the extent of her Star Wars knowledge. Do you know anything else about Star Wars?
I know there's a guy named Luke Skywalker, but I don't know who that is. And I know that there's a princess with the
buns.
The buns.
Do you know her name?
Princess Leia.
Oh wow!
Right?
You're so cool. You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah,
you nailed it.
Leia.
You know everything. Do you know who the most famous Star Wars villain is?
Wait, hold on. Wait, Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, can you think of another word that's even associated with Star Wars?
I'm trying to think of all my words. So just like words that I've heard is Luke Skywalker. I've heard Princess Leia with the buns. I don't even know what character the Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman played.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Keira Knightley's really not very important in this movie.
Okay. I don't know. I just remember seeing 2 girls. That's
okay.
like my only memory of that movie. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader.
Can you even name
white guys and they're soldiers that wear white?
Yes. That's true. Can you think of any actors besides Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman that are
Harrison
in Star Wars
Ford.
movies? Okay.
Harrison
I
Ford.
figured you would know that.
So Harrison Ford, and then the woman that played Leia died, but I forgot her name. Oh wait, no, hold on. Carrie Fisher.
Okay, wow, that's
right?
impressive.
Yeah.
You're right.
Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and that is it for actors besides Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley.
Yes. So can you name any Star Wars movies?
No. No, I don't know. I mean, is the very first one just titled Star Wars?
Yes, so that doesn't
Okay.
really count.
Okay, so I do know that.
Technically, as it's been rebranded as Star Wars: A New Hope because they
Mm.
eventually added like a subtitle to it. But when it was just released,
Mm-hmm.
which if I can make it work on our TV, should be the version we're watching. I have the despecialized editions, and we're just gonna watch the
So it'll be the real natural experience.
yeah, or as close to it as you can get. And it'll be interesting because I've seen, like I said, Star Wars was not my favorite movie as a kid. I was never like a huge fan. I never like nerded out when a new one was coming. But I have seen, obviously I didn't see the original trilogy in theaters. It was before my time. I've seen everything from the Phantom Menace on in theaters. I've seen the new ones multiple times in theaters. Um, I've probably watched every Star Wars movie at least 3 times. The original trilogy, I have probably watched at least 7 or 8 times. I've watched them quite a few times. First time I saw them was one of the VHS trilogy releases. I think it was the last VHS trilogy release before they started putting out the special editions. So it was like the original Star Wars. I watched it when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My brother and I watched them all. Uh, I haven't watched the original trilogy, which is where we're going to start. We're just going to do chronological order. I think that, not chronological, release order. I think that's the most sensible way to watch them, especially for someone who knows nothing about them. I haven't watched them in probably, trying to remember if I rewatched them before Force Awakens came out. I think the last time I watched them was Caleb and I and some buddies did like a watch through of all 3 of them over the course of like a weekend or something in like 2011 or 12. So it's been a while since I've actually watched them, and I probably haven't seen the because I think that was the DVD release. I haven't seen the non-special editions since I was probably since before I was 12. So this should be fun for me too. I know them very well, but I haven't watched them in a long time. So we're gonna watch Star Wars or A New Hope. I think it's kind of a dumb title tonight.
That's the very first one.
It's the very first one. This is from 1977, the one that started it all.
With Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher.
With Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher.
And Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. Is Luke Skywalker an actor or a character?
I thought that's a character.
Okay.
But I don't know who plays him.
I mean, he's really only famous for Luke Skywalker and like some voice acting roles.
Okay.
It's Mark Hamill. Anyway.
Okay.
So we're gonna go watch that, and then we'll come back and share our thoughts. And then over the next week or 2, we're gonna watch every other film, and we're just gonna see what a complete blank slate thinks. She didn't even ever see like Lord of the Rings. She missed all these things. So she was like a cheerleader in high school who thought this was like nerd stuff and didn't want to watch it.
I mean, I went to movies. We just didn't go see like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars.
Yeah, you went and saw like chick flicks.
Yes.
But she did share my love for James Cameron because she liked Titanic.
Yeah.
So like the movies.
But that's like.
It's funny because so many guys like
that.
They start dating their girlfriend. They're like, "You've never seen Star Wars," and they have to introduce her. I like could not have cared less. I'm only even doing it now. It's like a borderline social experiment to see what someone who's completely free from even like you don't even know much about fan opinions on the Star Wars movies, do you?
No. Why would I even be looking into
that? Guys, she knows nothing. It's going to be hilarious. But when we started dating, Lord of the Rings is my favorite films of all time. So those are what I really wanted to have her watch. We watched Lord of the Rings. I really wanted to watch Into the Wild. That's like my second favorite movie. True Detective Season 1. The Indiana Jones movies. Die Hard. Terminator 1 and 2. What other movies? Are there any other movies that I was like really big on making you watch when we first started dating?
I think that's all of them.
Those are the main ones. Yeah, Star Wars never ever crossed my mind. I was like, she won't care about these. I don't care that much about them. So anyway, we'll get to it. It should be fun. I'm really curious. I haven't even told her what specific opinion I'm trying to see if she either validates or nullifies. But a lot of you watching this could probably guess because it's something about the most controversial Star Wars film. So
Okay.
anyway, let's go watch the movie.
Okay. Okay, give me that tray so I can put that tray right here.
Looks like run.
This looks like a little kid.
Luke?
Yeah.
He's kind of a short guy.
Oh my gosh.
He's next to Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's clearly like 5 or 6 inches taller. And Harrison Ford's like my size, like 6 foot.
No need for a protocol droid. Of course you can, sir.
Haven't gone by the name of Obi-Wan.
No, I can take
Oh,
him.
before you were born.
Well, then the droid does belong to you.
Don't seem to remember ever owning a droid. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice.
Wait, is he gonna cut them?
No.
Before the dark times.
Why is he just waving it around without even being careful? 3PO!
Thank goodness they haven't found them. Where could they be?
3PO!
Use the comm link. Oh my. I forgot. Turn it off.
3PO!
So, are you there, sir? Radio? We've had some problems. Will you listen to me? Shut down all the garbage bags above the detention level, will ya? Do you copy? Shut down all the garbage bags above the detention level.
Hurry! Hurry!
All the garbage bags above the detention level.
Still out of spirit. What do you think? Do you think a princess and a guy like me?
No.
Dude, she's only like 20.
What?
She's only like 20.
Wait, 20? Like the actress?
Yes. Remember, this movie came out in 77.
David, she looks the same age as Harrison Ford.
Hold on. I know, she really does.
We'll set up a chain reaction. The shaft is race shielded, so you'll have to use proton torpedoes.
That's impossible, even for a computer.
It's not
Oh.
impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16
Kirk.
back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
Then man your ships.
Kirk, go get a diaper. You smell terrible.
Bigger than a fight.
Diffusion. Come on. Why don't you take a look around? You know what's about to happen, what they're up against?
Trust your feelings.
I've always heard of Star Wars. I didn't think that was it. I didn't think that's what everyone was talking about.
All right. So, welcome back, everybody. We have just returned from finishing the original Star Wars movie, Star Wars 1977, A New Hope, a few minutes ago. Although this was the despecialized version, so it's as close to the original 1977 experience as you can get. And now we're here to talk about it. So, without any further ado, Cassie, what did you think of Star Wars?
I guess the very first thing that I thought when it was over was like, that's Star Wars? Because it's not even that it was like horrible. It was a lot more fun than I thought that it would be. Like, it was like fun and goofy, like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, or like, dude, where's my car? Like, I just wasn't expecting this like giant franchise to be built off this, first initial movie that, like, to me didn't have any heart.
So
Like, it didn't really have the emotion or heart that I just thought that it would have.
So
I
is
guess.
it, like with a lot of the people who are making films now and kind of who were starting to make films when I was a kid, these guys that are like in their mid 40s and 50s, maybe even 60s now, a lot of those guys were like kids and teenagers when Star Wars came out, and Star Wars was like their thing that defined them and made them want to be filmmakers. Whereas with me and probably like filmmakers my generation and people that are going to be starting to make films over the next, like now and over the next like 2 decades, Lord of the Rings is what really, like, that was our big trilogy. Like I loved Lord of the Rings. That was what I'd live for when I was like a middle schooler. Were you expecting something more like that? Because Lord of the Rings is, while they're similar in that they're both like these epic kind of fantasy franchises that defined a generation, they're very, very, very different tonally. Lord of the Rings is much more like heartfelt and emotional and serious and meaningful. Is that kind of what you were expecting?
Well, I was expecting it to be fun and adventurous, but like more like Never-Ending Story, like something like that, where it's like there's some like heart and emotion to it.
Yeah, I will say that going forward, I don't want to tell you too much about the future films, but I do think that future entries in the franchise have a lot more heart. The first one, I think, is very vapid. That's why I've never been a very big fan of it.
Well, and even just not even knowing much about it, but just based off of how famous it is, I know that obviously as they go, they probably do get more heart. I'm just guessing, but I just don't know how they got the chance. Like why they were given another chance to make another one? Because I'm just surprised that one became so famous.
I mean, this was a runaway hit. This was like the biggest movie of all time at the time that it came out. It was unprecedented success. It was like when Titanic came out. It just played for a year. It made all the money. People just couldn't stop talking. People were seeing it over and over and over again. It was a phenomenon. So you were just kind of like, this is it? Was that a good reaction? Did you think it was a good movie? Did you not like it? What'd you think? Like, walk us through your reaction to the movie. Like, I know you seemed really bored the first like 40 minutes or so.
I thought that the special effects were kind of impressive. Like knowing all the technology that they had back then, I thought that was actually like pretty cool. So that was even kind of better than I thought that it would be. And I don't know. I just thought that it would be more to it, I guess.
Yeah. What was your favorite part? Or not necessarily favorite part, but favorite element?
I mean, I guess Han Solo.
Right, yeah.
He's basically the only person in the entire film that even has like a character or personality.
I completely agree.
And that's another thing, like all the characters from this show are so famous, like R2-D2 and Darth Vader and Princess Leia, and I just don't know how these became well known in like society because they don't really even have a personality or like a character.
Yeah, I mean,
I can totally see how Han Solo became big because at least he's like the rebel.
He has an actual personality. Now, how much of him having a personality do you think was actually that character having a personality versus just Harrison Ford clearly being the most likable and charismatic actor in the cast?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell.
I think it's basically all Harrison Ford, personally. I don't think it was anything in the script. I think it was all Harrison Ford's charm that brought that to life. I mean, because look how much. That's why I've always liked the Indiana Jones movies a lot more than the Star Wars movies.
Right, like I feel like just if it's only based off the first one, I feel like Indiana Jones is way cooler than Star Wars.
So like, what did you think of Luke Skywalker as the hero?
It could just be because I'm older, but I just felt like he looked like a little kid, and I was like, wait. That's Luke Skywalker.
I think Mark Hamill's like 25 or 26 in the movie. He's not that young.
He just looked really short and scrawny and was not what I was expecting. And even if he was short and scrawny, because like a lot of people are, that's not necessarily even a bad thing.
Let's not be body shaming Luke Skywalker.
Right, exactly. It's also just that he was really young. I was expecting both of them to be kind of like older. Like I was expecting both of them to be like Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Harrison Ford is like a 6 foot tall, 35-year-old man, so it's a little.
Yeah.
He's a little more adult. But what do you think about him as a character? Like, did you think that he was a good character?
I mean, there wasn't really a character. I don't really feel like
Okay.
he had a personality.
Yes, that's what you'd intimated while we were watching it, and that's what I wanted to get you to say here.
Okay.
That's always been my thoughts. I've always been like, Luke Skywalker kind of doesn't have a character. He's just like he whines a little bit at the beginning, and then he goes on an adventure, and he's just like a blank slate hero for 10-year-old boys to kind of step into and be like, wow, that could be me.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any expectations going forward? Do you have any thoughts about a sequel?
I guess my thoughts going forward is that the next few movies are gonna have a lot more like heart and be more like a meaningful adventure or something. Because otherwise, I don't really see how this franchise got famous.
They get more mythic. They start to have more more kind of world building and more stuff to them. It's all, well, you'll see. It's all it's somewhat haphazard, but they definitely develop. This one ends pretty conclusively though. Like there's not really like a cliffhanger. There's not a setup for a sequel. It's just kind of like we saved the day. We destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, as far as you know from the end of this movie, they destroyed the Empire and that's it. I mean, overall, did you like it? Like, what's your, if you had to give your final thoughts on the film and maybe like a rating 1 to 10, what would you say?
I think that it was really cool for its time because I think it was like that first type of movie. But as far as just like the actual story and like the characters and any sort of meaning or anything, it just seemed very like shallow and vapid to me. So, I mean, whatever rating I would give like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle or Dude, Where's My Car? Like that's about.
I don't know though, because like I haven't watched the Harold and Kumar movies in a long time, but I think they're pretty funny. Like those movies make me laugh, so they kind of succeed at what they're doing. Did you feel like Star Wars succeeded at what it set out to do?
Yeah, I think it would be like a fun adventure show for like a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would probably give this original film. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
What do you think? Is that too
know.
low or
I don't know, it just
too
seems
high?
kind of high.
I mean, honestly, I was even gonna say like a generous 6 out of 10.
Maybe like a 5.
I think. I mean, if this movie came out today, and obviously like it would have like better special effects, like current cutting edge special effects. I probably would give a movie like that a 5 out of 10. I think there's just part of me that is so much like a film buff and film fanatic. I have to give it a little bit of credit for how pioneering it was in a lot of ways. So I'm probably being a little kind on it. As far as like meaning goes, you talk about how the film's kind of devoid of meaning. Were you surprised at how completely apolitical the rebellion versus empire dichotomy is? I mean, there's nothing to it.
That's what I'm saying. It was like very void of any sort of meaning, any sort of message, any sort of vision, any sort of heart. Like
yeah, I mean that's
like even something like okay, like usually in like when you're looking at like a dystopian society or something like in 1984 or Brave New World or like in The Fountainhead, like there's like, I mean, obviously those are going to be more ham-fisted, but there's like a world build up, and then in that world there's like, oh, there's an oppressor and the oppressed, and then the messages behind that, and then the survival of the human spirit against oppression, and you know what I mean?
There's like none of that.
Yeah, that's what
it's just
what I'm
like
saying.
we just gotta. It's almost like watching like a cosmic game of cops and robbers play out on screen. Just like very very kind of kiddie. It's not like you watch something like Hunger Games and you have the rebels versus the government, and there's a lot of like commentary there. Or even watch something like Red Dawn, which really only came out 6 or 7 years after Star Wars, and the whole like insurgency idea is like a metaphor for like the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. there's no political commentary at all in the conflict of Star Wars.
Yeah, like in Red Dawn, the commentary is like, look, when you go in and you invade a country, you're invading other human beings. And what would it be like if someone came to your country and tried to tell you how to live and tell you what to do? How would you act? Oh, like the people that you would be viewing as the heroes would actually be the bad guys. And all this kind of stuff. Like, that's a message. That's like a belief. That's heart. And it's just very weird that this movie didn't have anything like that.
The whole thing is really just like a kid's wish fulfillment movie. I mean, even like Luke Skywalker just shows up and is like instantly given an X-wing. It's like, this isn't how the military works. You're like, I mean, maybe in like the most intense wartime, you might have some random guy show up who kind of proved himself and you throw him a rifle, but you're not just going to be like, here, you're a fighter jet pilot now because you showed up and you've driven a hovercraft once.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like Luke is supposed to be a good pilot, but it's only like barely touched on. I don't know. It's not, original Star Wars is not a very good movie.
Okay.
But all right.
Yeah, I guess I would agree. I don't.
All right.
I actually was a little bit surprised. I was really thinking it would be like pretty good.
Yeah, and you know what? And you actually. You're way kinder to old movies than me.
Oh yeah, I love classics. Like I love old movies. Like most of my favorite movies are like older movies.
Yeah, like It's a Wonderful Life,
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. What are some of the really old ones you like?
I don't know. I couldn't think of them off the top of my head.
Yeah, whereas I'm kind of I'll just flat out admit it. I have a hard time watching anything before like the late 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's her take on Star Wars. Now we will go watch Empire Strikes Back shortly.
All right. Oh, they're not doing the same thing. Oh, maybe. Maybe they are. Who's that?
It's Luke.
Is that the same actor?
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, how old is Harrison Ford?
Now?
Yeah.
He's like, I think the exact same age as my grandma.
She actually does look very young. I think it's just her voice is older sounding.
She has a husky voice.
That's what it is. She doesn't actually look old.
I guess you don't know everything about women yet.
Yeah.
Now I have Indiana Jones hair. Much more handsome. He's like, oh yeah.
Wait, is she just like playing him along, but she really likes Harrison Ford?
Yes.
This is like very like messed up.
Princess.
Yeah, it's enough.
We have a visitor.
Wait, are you kidding me?
Just watch.
Outside the base was on 12 movie
Don't say anything more.
It's not like appealing to do that. That's very rude.
Well, nothing gets off the system. You are in command now, Admiral Yent.
Thank you, Vader.
I'm looking at him.
All troop carriers are
So I was trying to see if Darth Vader's black.
He is. It's James Earl Jones.
Only 2 fighter escorts per ship.
Dude, the whole time I was like, this guy's his father. This is like clearly a black man.
James Earl Jones is just the voice. He's not the actor underneath. So tiny.
Oh, is this Yoda's house?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's so cute. I wish I had a house like this. Well, it looks so ugly, but like kind of cute.
Not as cute as Baby Yoda.
No.
So what do you think about that versus the first one?
I mean, it's definitely better.
Yeah. That's more like what you thought a Star Wars movie would be like.
I mean, closer, yeah.
All right, we are recording. So,
Mm-hmm.
sweetheart, what did you think of The Empire Strikes Back?
It was a lot more what I was expecting when I thought of Star Wars. Like, it was a lot more what I thought Star Wars would be. Like, tone-wise, and a little bit more story and character-wise.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, I've seen them all, so it's kind of hard. I think this one is more what going forward. Most of the films, or at least trying to be. I mean, this one is. It's definitely one of the fan favorites of the movies. So you thought it was better than the first one?
Yeah.
And why did you think it was better?
I thought it was a lot better because it has more character development and it was more tonally what I was expecting, and I preferred the tone.
Yeah, it's it's still pretty lighthearted and fun, but it's fun. Like the first one's it really is like just very goofy and silly and kind of slapstick for a lot of it.
Yeah, I felt like with this we even had more character development with Darth Vader, like found out a little bit more about his motives. Luke Skywalker became more of like a personality. I didn't like Carrie Fisher's personality in this, or Princess Leia, at all. I don't like that character. Like, that's not a good character, but at least in the first one there wasn't even enough development to have an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, in the first one she kind of has no character beyond being kind of feisty.
And then in this
one,
they
can't even keep her accent consistent. Sometimes she has like a vaguely British accent, and sometimes she sounds American.
Yeah.
Which is completely gone in this film. She just sounds like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. I didn't even think of that. She didn't have an accent in this one.
Yeah.
That's
Did you notice it in the first one that she had like there's a lot of times where she has this sort of like vague posh British accent.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. She's trying to sound like a princess.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other times where she just sounds like hard drinking, smoking Carrie Fisher.
No, I noticed the accent in the first one, but I just realized there wasn't an accent in this one. That's really funny. But yeah, with the first one there wasn't enough to have an opinion on, and then in this one, I guess her personality was, what it was, but I just felt like it was kind of more annoying than anything. So, but it, at least there was something to have an opinion about. So, yeah, I guess it was a little bit more in the realm of what I was expecting as far as Star Wars. The second one was.
Yeah, it's definitely more character driven.
Yeah.
You did know that Darth Vader is Luke's father, right? Did you like know that from pop culture? Was that a twist to you? Because you didn't really react to it. So
yeah, just from pop culture, I knew the line, "I am your father."
Yeah. You left that out. You forgot to disclose that, telling us what you know about Star Wars.
I forgot to say, there was another thing that I forgot to say, because I knew about "I am your father," and I knew about, what was the other thing I knew about? Oh, Yoda. I'd obviously heard of Yoda before.
Yeah, you know it. We also forgot to mention that you have seen, like, at least parts of episodes of The Mandalorian. Because as I've been watching it, you'll come in and just be like, "Oh, baby Yoda's so cute," and you'll just stand there and like stare at it and think it's like the cutest thing.
I mean, I'm not really watching it, but yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. We've only seen parts of episodes. Mm-hmm. So now I think we've completely fully disclosed your previous knowledge about Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that you liked this movie, or like thought it was like good but not for you, or still didn't really care much for it, or what? Because I think I would say you were like indifferent to kind of not liking the first one.
Yeah, I was definitely indifferent to kind of not liking the first one, because I don't like silly things, or I don't like vulgar humor.
Hold on.
What?
I've seen you watch some pretty silly, like Hallmark style movies. I'm just gonna say.
That's not really what I'm talking about.
Okay. You don't like silly things for boys, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like silly humor. I don't like things that are just supposed to be entertainment. I don't like goofy stuff. nothing like that appeals to me.
So you're
And I
saying
felt
you
like
married me because I'm a really serious, brooding auteur.
I mean, kinda, yeah.
Okay. Good answer.
Yeah, I don't like stuff like that at all. And I felt like the first one was just so vapid and pointless that it was not interesting to me, and it just felt like I was wasting my time, like just for the sake of being entertained, like hoo-hoo. And I don't like that. I would say the first one, I was leaning indifferent to just not liking it. Like if I just randomly saw this movie and had never heard of it before or anything like that, I would have been like, oh, I just wasted like 2 hours. And then this one, I'm kind of indifferent to thinking it's okay.
If you had to give it a rating, scale 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Like a 6.
Yeah, I'd give it. I'd probably give this one a 7. Like if I'm giving the first one a 6, I definitely give this one a 7. I think we kind of figured I was probably being a little more charitable to it just for the historical aspects. So I might say 6. I'd say a 7. I like The Empire Strikes Back. It's a pretty good movie. It's good. It looks a lot better,
you also
too.
like Mad Max and stuff, which I just thought that was like the dumbest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
That's a lot of. I mean, I'm a genre movie guy. Like,
yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about where it's going from here for the final movie of the original trilogy?
I feel like from here it can only get more interesting. I mean, I almost feel like these 3 movies should have just been one movie and like it all just cut down, because I feel like I'm just now getting to know the characters, like whereas in a normal movie you would kind of learn all this stuff within the first 20 minutes or so. And so I feel like I'm just now getting to know the characters and have any kind of investment. So my prediction is that this third movie I'm gonna like the most of them so far. I'm gonna like more than the other 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you know my thoughts on the next movie after we've watched it.
Okay.
It did end with a little bit of a cliffhanger. Han Solo getting frozen in carbonite and being taken away, and we don't really know what's going on. I mean, that's
another thing I feel like throughout this entire time, like nothing has actually happened. Like I don't feel like anything's happened. Like I thought that there would at least be something happening where like Luke is like hearing the call of Darth Vader and he, stabs everyone on the thing and then tries to redirect the ship back to Darth Vader, and he does meet all their predictions.
Oh, you thought he was going to go to the dark side?
Yeah, I thought he was going to meet all their predictions because like everyone was talking about how wise Yoda was and how wise that one dude was, and then they kept warning him like, oh, if you go, you'll go to the dark side. And so I was like, why are they building up this build up just for no reason? So to me, the fact that he didn't end up even at least having like a temporary moment of insanity where he tries to like get them to do the ship back and try to get back to Darth Vader, it just seemed like a waste of all that lead up. Like I felt like there was just some things in there that were pointless that there could have been more done with.
Well, there was a whole other movie. Would you say you're like quite a bit more interested to watch the third movie then than you have been the other 2?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
Something that I'm really surprised by is just how unlikable the Princess Leia character is. I mean, she's just really not a good person.
And what makes you say that specifically?
Well, like when that one guy was trying to help rescue them, what was that guy's name?
Lando, the black guy?
Yeah, like when Lando was trying to rescue them, she was just like being annoying and not believing him, even though it's very obvious what was going on. And then any woman who's like using one guy while actually liking another guy is just like kind of a garbage person. But I feel like we're not supposed to dislike her in the movie. So like to me that's really weird.
So what you think? So you just think that like the relationship between that she has, where she's kind of like maybe using Luke against Han. Do you think that's kind of gross?
Yes.
Well, this I tell you what, the third movie's going to really be interesting to you then.
I mean, it's just like, this isn't a good person. But yet the movie, I don't feel like the movie is trying to portray her as a bad person, but based on her character, I feel like we should all think she's a bad person. So I feel like there's a little bit of a discrepancy there.
A lot of fans really like Leia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how she's a famous character. Like, she's just annoying and kind of immoral. And that's basically it. I mean, I guess she...
Well, who do you think she'd be
brave in certain situations?
Who do you think she should be with,
it.
Luke or Han?
Well, I mean, I guess the actor isn't really young in real life, but I just feel like the one boy looks like a kid. So,
Okay,
I mean...
He's like 5 years older than her.
No, I know, it's so weird to me. But
Harrison Ford's like 15 years older than her.
I know, that's so crazy.
Or more, 17, 18 years older. Harrison Ford's pushing 40 in this movie.
Yeah, they literally look the exact same age. I feel like she should be with Han Solo, obviously.
Well, she's pretty conclusively chosen Han at this point, since he knows that she loves him.
Yeah, but then at the end, she's like, Luke Skywalker still has no idea what's going on, and it's very upsetting to me. Like, this really bothers me, and I
Luke
feel like
doesn't know what's going on.
No, like, this really bothers me, and I feel like this isn't even like an element in the movie, and that is what bothers me. Like, I feel like it's not an element that we're supposed to think she's bad.
So at the end of the day, the movie's okay. It's definitely better than the first one.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to the conclusion, and you don't like Leia. Those are the big takeaways.
Yeah, and I wish there had just been a little bit more that happens. Like I said, like at least like a 10-minute freak out where Luke Skywalker tries to turn it around, is like, and then they're like having to hold him back, and he's like, no, I want to go back to my father. Like, I felt like that would have actually, because at least then all that buildup would have been for a reason. I mean, I get that there's a third movie, but that's also to my point where, like, maybe this is getting drug on a bit long. Like, maybe that does come back in the third one, but I feel like it could have been done in this one.
All right, well, there you have it. That's Cassie's thoughts on The Empire Strikes Back. We will now go and probably tomorrow watch Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That's the third one. See how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that looks weird. Wait, is it that same one?
No, that's the new one they're building. That's what we just said in the beginning. It said they're building a new Death Star.
Yeah, but I didn't know if that was the old one that got beat up.
No, it got like vaporized when it blew up.
Yeah. I know sometimes movies pretend like they ended differently than they actually did.
That's a big problem with Star Wars that we'll start getting into more as they go on.
Okay.
This is where they really start clearly. You'll see.
Like, oh, you saw it obliterated, but really only destroyed half. You know what I'm saying?
It's called retconning.
What's on the
It sounds
tea?
like a little kid. Dude, yeah, this woman doesn't really look old, but like her voice,
That's right.
I would never think that was the voice of like a 25-year-old woman, ever.
I'll wait till you hear when she's 58 or whatever.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
No. What?
I love this tribal music.
What did he say?
I'm rather embarrassed, General Solo, that it appears you are to be the main course at a banquet in my honor.
Oh no! That ain't good news.
Father has it. I have it. My sister
Oh, you heard father, mother, sister. Now he's singing the shark song.
Yes.
Because that goes over the family members.
That's so funny. Shark doo 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 doo.
And now,
Daddy shark doo 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 doo. Baby shark
somehow,
doo doo doo.
I've always known.
Then you know why I have to face it.
Wait, somehow
No.
she's always known that was her brother?
Don't run away.
Sure,
Far
I
away.
knew it. Empire
If
Strikes
he can
Back.
feel your presence, then leave this place. I wish I could do it.
No, you don't. Free!
Oh yeah, let me just tell you to freeze and then you will. It's so stupid.
You, like your father, I know. Mine.
Hold up, boo boo.
Trying to hold your hand.
Dude, is she like my height?
Yeah, she's a midget.
Shut up. You're so rude.
When he comes back, I won't get in the way.
It's not like that at all. He's my brother.
Stop it. Stop. Wait. Is that him thinking about all the times that they made out and then deciding he doesn't care?
I don't think it is, but there's a really funny video that recontextualizes that as that. I'll show you. It's so funny. It's like 30 seconds long. It's so funny.
All right, and we are back. We just finished watching Return of the Jedi a few minutes ago. So, Cassie, let's get right into it. What did you think of Return of the Jedi, the finale of the original Star Wars trilogy?
I would say it was probably my favorite of the three of them, as far as just entertainment wise.
You know, it's funny you say that because actually, like, I think most people like Empire Strikes Back the most, and I see why. And in some ways,
wait, Empire Strikes Back. That
was the second one.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
Yeah. And in some ways, I'd agree with them.
I forget the names of them. Sorry.
But I've always kind of been partial to Return of the Jedi. There's some tonal inconsistencies where it gets pretty silly with like the Ewoks at times. Yeah. But I like a lot of like the throne room scene, although it has some terrible ideology, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
But I just found that to be like the most emotional scene. The final confrontation between Luke and Vader and the Emperor, I thought was good. Like the music a lot in that scene and in some of the others. So yeah, I will share more of your thoughts.
I mean, I guess this one did have a message, but it was like the worst message ever. So like, forget I asked for that.
Yeah, she turned to me at one point in the film in the Emperor scene, and when Luke was basically, it was when the Emperor was saying like, oh yeah, you know, I feel your hate, I feel your anger.
It's just so dumb.
And he was basically like tempting Luke to strike him down, and Cassie was like, well, you know, I regret asking for a message in these films now because this is terrible. Yeah. And it really is ridiculous because the idea is that like, oh, if Luke succumbs to his hatred and his anger and he strikes down the Emperor, that will make him be on the dark side, which makes absolutely no sense. Because
I mean that doesn't even make sense with the movie because it's not like he hasn't killed anyone before. So why all of a sudden, if he kills this one person, that's hatred, but all the other ones weren't? Like, well, it doesn't even make sense.
Right. And, you know, what I told Cassie as we were discussing that during the movie, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So it's apparently evil and hateful to strike down a murderous tyrant. But blowing up an entire Death Star...
Yeah.
That's great. You know, never mind that like some of the people on the Death Star were just the cooks in the galley. Never mind that some of the people were like privates that were probably conscripted to fight a war they didn't really care about. And I mean, honestly, I'm fine with them blowing up the Death Star. Like, there's a weapon to murder planets.
Yeah, it didn't seem
it's
like
an
any
evil
of those
empire.
Stormtroopers had much choice in their lot in life. Like, I mean, it showed Darth Vader like killing people left and right if they ever went against him or didn't follow his orders like exemplary enough.
Oh, and as you will find out in future Star Wars movies, they're just conscripted.
Yeah.
Like they will totally miss the opportunity to make anything of it, but they do get into it more later.
Yeah, so killing like tens of thousands of people is completely, that's loving and self-defense, but killing one person who's gonna kill like thousands and thousands of people that would be him succumbing to hatred. Like, it just doesn't, there's no logical consistency.
Yeah, one person who's truly evil, not just like a goon.
And even if it did make logical consistency, like there had not been anyone that Luke Skywalker had killed before, the message is still bad. Like, that's an immoral message. I don't agree with that. So I think it's just bad ideology, one, and two, even if you agree with that ideology, it's not logically consistent with the movie. So that's what I thought of the third one mainly. And then there was a bunch of other weird stuff.
What was the other weird
stuff? But it was
stuff?
still my favorite one, just because by then I did know the characters, and
So why was it your favorite one?
I just felt like there was more going on. It at least had a point, and it tied things up, and it had like character arcs. There wasn't anything like that in either of the ones before.
I think in the first one, Han has a little bit of a character arc because he's the selfish smuggler who then comes back in the end. I mean, that's a very thin arc.
I don't even think that. I think they just mischaracterized him.
What do you mean by that?
Like, there was never, like, besides them saying that and using exposition, I never really saw anything of him acting so selfish or so bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's very like tell don't show instead of show don't tell. Because it's just him being like, I'm looking out for me and my own kid.
Yeah, like, yeah, but I never really saw anything like that. And he could even say that him coming back to save those people was still him looking out for himself because he, wanted these people to be alive or whatever. So
also, he got like a medal, and they were like, "Woo, you're the big hero!"
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I guess you could say that. I don't agree. Like, I don't think that was a character arc.
Yeah. So one of the things that really started becoming clear in this one, and I think it was already showing a bit in The Empire Strikes Back, but it really started becoming clear in this one, is how haphazardly plotted and how willing to retcon things the Star Wars universe is. And since I know this isn't just a movie channel, some of you might not be familiar with the term retcon. Retcon is it's a portmanteau of retroactive and continuity. Retcon, retroactive continuity. It's the act of retroactively changing the continuity. And it was really funny because right at the very beginning of this movie, Cassie was starting to wonder about this. They show the new Death Star that's under construction, and Cassie's like, it's like, wait, is that the Death Star they destroyed? And I was like, no, that's the new one that they're building. I think she'd missed a little bit of the opening crawl because one of our kids was distracting her. Where they talked about there being a new Death Star under construction, and she was like, oh, okay, I just wasn't sure if it was supposed to be like, that's not it under construction, it's damaged. And they're just like totally changing the fact that we saw the other one get vaporized. Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, that is basically something these movies do all the time, is change things. And the big one here, I think, is the biggest one. There's several of them, but the biggest one is that Leia is now Luke's sister, which makes very little sense and has very little reason for being, except that
little payoff for how much it like doesn't fit. It's so weird.
Well, because the only real thing that they do is have him say, oh, if you won't turn to the dark side, I'll turn your sister. And then Luke says no, and comes out and has like one of the best lightsaber fights in the original trilogy, one of the most emotional moments. But it's like, you couldn't have figured out some other way to do that. I mean, even if he just said, I'll kill your friends, and he says no, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah, I don't feel like it for any particular reason needed to be that, like, at all.
So did you know that they were brother and sister.
Once I saw that, I remembered that. I didn't know going into it, because remember how last time I was like really mad that she was like flirting with both of them. I don't think I don't think I would have been thinking that if I had known that that was her brother.
Yeah, when
so I totally forgot about that, but once I saw it, I was like, oh, I do remember hearing people talk about that.
Yeah, it triggered like another aspect of your kind of memory where you've just by osmosis picked up some of the pop culture.
Well, yeah, because like even when we saw Ewoks, I recognized them, and I was like, "Oh, I've heard of Ewoks. I just didn't know that was from Star Wars."
And Jabba the Hutt too.
Yeah, and like I heard of like there being like a action show where haha, they're brother and sister, and it's so ridiculous. I just didn't know it was Star Wars. So like Star Wars has like a lot of things that are like constantly referenced in just culture and society that like a lot of people pick up. So it was actually really interesting to see like Jabba the Hutt, Ewoks, the brother sister ha 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 thing, and be like, oh, that's from Star Wars. Oh, I've heard of that character. I didn't know it was a Star Wars character. So
well, and that's part of why I'd wanted to get you to watch these, because even though they're not like movies that I'm a big fan of or anything, I thought that you would at least find it interesting watching them, because they are so, for better or worse, so culturally significant.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see over the last like 40 years of pop culture the huge mark they've left, and how foundational they were to the modern blockbuster, how often they get referenced. So have there been lots of things you've been like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. I didn't realize that came from Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, like even that guy with the cape.
Lando?
No.
Boba Fett.
No, the leader. The leader of
the Emperor?
Yeah, the Emperor.
Oh.
Even the Emperor.
A lot of people with capes, I guess.
Even the Emperor, I recognized his face from like memes and stuff.
Oh yeah. He's popular meme fodder.
I just did not know that he was called the Emperor and he was from Star Wars. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I recognize that guy.
What other thoughts do you have? I mean, kind of now that you've seen all three of them, as we sort of wrap up your thoughts on this whole trilogy, after the first film, you were pretty surprised that this is as popular as it is, because I think that is a fairly vapid film.
Oh yeah, I was very surprised.
Now that you've seen all three of them, do you understand a little better why Star Wars is so iconic and culturally significant?
I mean, the only thing, because I kept trying to think like, oh, why is this so popular? Why is this so popular? But I mean, like, as I was thinking this, it's like I'm putting my son down to bed and he wants to listen to Baby Shark, which is like the dumbest song. It's like Baby Shark, do 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 do, Mommy Shark, do do, like, but it became like this billion view hit.
Oh yeah, the people that made that are so rich.
Yeah, they really are. And it's just like and I think it's something kind of similar to that, like not to be, and I don't mean that in like an insulting way, I mean just in the sense that like it kind of is the first thing to really have just like a world where kids, and especially like young boys, can get really excited about characters and all the different robots and all the different like lightsabers. Like there really are like a bunch of things that you can like pick out and emulate, and then you can play Stormtrooper and Han Solo. I can see a lot of ways that like people could play this out or do it, where they dress up in these outfits for Halloween. I could see how it could become a really big like merchandising thing.
Oh,
so I can really see how just with toys and T-shirts and games and like lightsabers and things like that, there's just so much to the world of it that I can see how it became popular, especially just it being the first of its kind. I think if this exact same thing was made now, it wouldn't be the same thing at all. But just because it was the first, I mean, I guess that's where the credit goes.
So what would you give this one on a scale of 1 to 10?
Like a 6.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7, about what I gave The Empire Strikes Back. I put them on fairly equal footing. I do see why people like Empire Strikes Back so much, and generally more. It might be my favorite. I also think this is a fairly strong ending. I like both Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi a bit. I think they're pretty good movies. I like them more than the first one. The first one's just, it really is pretty vapid.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was expecting there to be so much more to it.
So going forward, what do you think about the future Star Wars films? Are you at all excited to watch them? What thoughts do you have on them?
I don't know. I mean, not really. I'm not really excited. I mean, I don't want it to seem like I wasn't. I don't want it to seem like I was going in looking to not like it, because I really wasn't. I just, like, honestly, I really thought that I would like them more than I actually did. So,
like, when I introduced you to Lord of the Rings, what'd you think of those movies?
I mean, they were fine, I guess.
I don't know why I married this woman.
I mean, they were fine. Like, I don't know.
Did you like them? Okay. Of all the movies that I've introduced you to, which ones have you liked the best? Like the ones that were like my long time favorite movies.
Which ones did you introduce me to?
Lord of the Rings, Terminator, Red Dawn, Into the Wild.
Probably Into the Wild.
Really? I actually would have guessed Terminator. You were really into the Terminator movies.
Well, I love the Terminator. Like, I love the Terminator. I just, you didn't introduce me to that.
Had you seen Terminator before?
Yes, it was my idea to watch it because I love those movies.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I thought you thought Into the Wild was stupid because he dies at the end.
Well, yeah, I thought it was, but okay, you guys, this is where it's like you can have like a character not believe the right thing, but if the audience is supposed to like get it, then it makes sense. Like the whole point of that show, of that movie, was that he wanted to live his whole life being, I'm an individualist, I can do this on my own, I'm gonna go out in the wild, I'm gonna be free, I'm gonna do this and this. And he completely lived his life like devoid of love and people. And then he realized that was like the most important thing, but realized it too late. Like it was actually like a really good message.
Yeah, that's what.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's like actually like a really good message. Like it sucks that he died, but I didn't mind the message of that. I thought that it was really good.
Yeah, it always cracks me up how many people complain about that movie because they're like, oh, it's just he has like terrible beliefs and blah blah. It's like, well, the movie's like about him realizing he's wrong, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like the whole in the second movie where Princess Leia is like flirting with both guys, it would be one thing if she was flirting with both guys, but we as audience members are supposed to think she's garbage for it. But it didn't do that. Whereas like Into the Wild, like, oh, he has this dumb belief, but we're supposed to realize it along with him at the end that it was a dumb belief.
This has turned into a very weird discussion where we're comparing Into the Wild to Star Wars.
No, well, I mean, just like concepts of like ideology in movies in general. Like it doesn't really matter what movie you're.
Yeah, you're a really hard sell for like fantasy and science fiction movies. That's why I am always surprised you like the Terminator movies so much.
I mean,
why do you like those ones?
I feel like they're very cerebral.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more thought provoking than Star Wars.
Yeah, I feel like they're very cerebral.
Much more emotional. Much more heart.
Yeah, they have a lot of
like
heart.
There's some genuine heart in the relationship between Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, and then between the T2 and John Connor in the sequel, and then after that is a bunch of terrible movies that never should have been made. Well, what do you think the prequels are going to be like?
I don't know. I'm excited because I think I know that I saw them when I was a kid. I don't remember one thing about it. I remember like one shot where it's either Keira Knightley or what's the other woman's name?
Natalie Portman.
It was one of them. you know how you have like a flash of a memory? I just have
Yeah.
like a flash of a memory of seeing like Natalie Portman on screen.
I don't.
I it would be like kind of cool to see it as an adult. I think that I'll like them.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I think it's. I don't think you've even seen all of them. I think you only saw the Phantom Menace, and then I think after that one, I think you were too old and you were like, "Ew, Star Wars is for boys."
Well,
by then you were, like, a
honestly,
teenager.
it really is. I can see. I actually think that even more now that I've actually seen them. I feel like this is a movie that like I could see a little boy, like a 10-year-old boy, like loving, like so getting into.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Star Wars had come out when I was a kid, I would have been way more obsessed with them. But it was like by the time I saw Star Wars, there'd already been, almost 2 decades of movies coming out that were made possible by Star Wars. So
yeah. So I think what really made Star Wars so popular was just the world building. Because I mean, they're really the heart that I was looking for. I was surprised that wasn't really there. It was a lot goofier than I thought that it would be. Just kind of vapid, although it did get a lot more. I do feel like they got progressively better, had better character development. You had more investment in each character. The characters actually had an arc by the third one. But then it's like, oh, I almost wish that I didn't even wish for that, because the ideology and the message was so terrible, and like the character arcs like didn't even make sense. So it was kind of like in House of Cards. So, the big reveal in the second one was like, oh, I'm your father, Luke. And then like that was like this big like mind blown moment. So then they're like, okay, we'll do this again. And
I know where you're going.
Leia is his sister. What?
Yes.
And that'll be just as mind blowing. It's the same thing with House of Cards when Zoe, what's her name? Zoe
Barnes.
When Zoe Barnes gets killed by Frank Underwood. And that was like this mind-blowing
mind-blowing. It was such an awesome twist.
You never saw it coming. It was like out of this world. You were not expecting it. Like I didn't even believe that it happened. I turned to my husband and I was like, did that was a dream sequence, right? Like there's no way that actually happened. And he was like, no, that literally, Cassie, that character just died. And I'm like, what? Like what? Like I was like mind blown. And then I think that they took that every person was like so amazed by that their big solution to keep it so like scandalous was to just like have Frank like randomly kill people in every episode.
Yeah, it got to the point where
and we're just supposed to still find it just as mind blowing.
That show
so stupid.
That show, which went downhill so much after the first 2 seasons, it eventually got to the point where anytime Frank was standing next to like a staircase or anything with somebody, you're like, oh, he's gonna push him and try to kill him. I just know it.
Yeah,
because he's just like so randomly killing people. It got absurd. That's actually a weirdly apt comparison for the Star Wars movies, because going forward, we will discuss this more later. But yes, this whole like interconnectedness and everyone has to be related.
It's like an episode of This Is Us.
It becomes absurd eventually.
Okay.
And especially in this most recent trilogy, we'll have to talk about that. But
okay,
I'm excited to go forward. But all right, well, this has been fun. Hopefully, you guys have been entertained by this, and I'm not exactly sure how long it'll be till we get to the next episode. It shouldn't be more than a few days from now, a week or so from now at most. But we're going to start watching the prequels soon and filming Cassie's reactions to those, and we will report back to you. So you guys take care and stay tuned for more from us. Bye.
Bye.